Hello, everybody. I'm the first speaker because I think I know the least about IT. But my concern is about locating issues of legal disruption and in technology, disruptions in the legal profession through technology. Now, it's important from the perspective of where we are in South Africa to be just on guard and to be careful, because our constitution and our growth of our constitutional democracy and the values and ethos that we have embodied are driven basically for the purposes of growing a caring society, where one would hope that artificial intelligence, AI, would be rooted in promoting a just society. So the idea of talking about artificial intelligence, chat, GPT 3, 4, and so on, might be very technical and it might be very informative, but it is not within our control. It is coming from elsewhere. And when I say elsewhere, the people who are creating this are creating it for a society that serves their purpose. Do these creations, will they be adapted to our needs? Would they work on the continent of Africa? Would they serve our best constitutional values and the ethos that we want? And we've heard people talking about Ubuntu. We talk about gender parity and equality. We are faced with a world that is a pretty bad place, simply put, where we know South Africa in itself has the highest levels of inequality. And that is a serious issue to be taken in the context of the whole world. We have issues around political and military power and how it is exercised. The levels of inequality, if we look at what has happened in the last 20 years, the growth of technology, artificial intelligence has been simply exponential. It's just exploding, it's moving so fast. And you would think that if the world is advancing at that rapid pace, surely issues like equality, economic inequality, should never be moving at that same exponential rate, because all those creators of of artificial intelligence, of technology, would be applying, one would think, all those wonderful creative ideas where everything is moving faster, things are becoming smaller. The only thing that's now growing bigger again are our cell phones. You know, those days we had big bricks-sized cell phones, and they shrunk and shrunk. But now with IT and the growth of technology, they need to put more memory into it, more information, and so the size of your cell phone has grown marginally bigger instead of going smaller, but to accommodate amazing things that you could probably find a president of the country having the capacity to maybe launch a nuclear warhead. Now I'm exaggerating, because there are certain checks and balances by those warmongers that are controlling the arsenals of nuclear bombs. But as you and I know, the smart thinkers in the world are amongst the smartest criminals. They are able to hack into any system. And as long as there's a firewall, there is a bigger, smarter, more creative, cleverer thinker who can break that firewall. Now, when you think of the weaponization of the world and the capacity of certain fringe elements in certain countries that possess nuclear weapons, and the turmoil that's going on in those countries, you know, it's not too difficult to imagine that some clever dealer in arms will be able to hack into the system and either steal nuclear bombs or do something dangerous, because certain of these countries don't have the kind of controls and management over what are really weapons of mass destruction. Now, what has that got to do with us here in South Africa and the legal profession? That's what our colleagues are going to have to answer. But it's the legal profession in South Africa that has got to be careful and has got to guard itself against all these wonderful concepts and mechanisms that's already flooding us on our continent in particular and in South Africa. And who are creating all of these? It is and I have to refer you to the North-South divide. It is those in the North, the people who have created Chat GPT-4 and Microsoft, which has created a company that's called OpenAI. At least I'm learning a few things. And they, in November 2022, launched chatbots. Chat as a bot, but it's called ChatGPT-4. And it is a concept that is almost getting to the point of controlling the minds, where machines and robots are reaching the point where they can think very much close to human beings. And the idea of containing all of that is going to be a challenge. Now, when we as lawyers are going to be using these powerful tools that are imported into our country, and they're coming from the creators of these models, ChatGPT, they are not homegrown. They don't have a sense of Ubuntu. They are all about profiteering, maximizing profits, and advancing their global agendas. And when we as lawyers in South Africa are going to use these wonderful bits of equipment, and we are in our legal firms, we are acting for clients whose interests don't go that deep into promoting and defending a wonderful democracy that we had built, which is based on equality and humanity. It is so easily going to be drifting into a dangerous direction. So my concern to our very important teachers of how legal disruption is going to take place when you practice, I hope they will always remember, and we should remember, that we own the space in South Africa. Our thinking goes beyond selfish, capitalist profiteering. And all the work that we do about legal disruption should be promoting the values in our Bill of Rights, promoting equality, reducing the inequality levels in this country, promoting climate justice, defending all those people who are protecting our environment. And that should be the kind of disruption that we should see within our legal profession. I can talk, I've made lots of other notes, but I can tell you we are in dangerous times because this model is capable of thinking like a human being. And I'll just give you one small example that took place about a week ago. And it involves Bill Gates. He's the one who promoted the formation of ChatGPT and this open company. And it was an incident where they were testing the skills of ChatGPT-4. And they asked a worker who works for, I think it's called TaskRabbit, to test this GPT model. And they posed a question to this model. And the model pretended, that model asked this chat, "Are you a robot?" Because this worker suspected something. And the program was so advanced, it answered it knowing that if it gave that answer, it won't get the information it wants from the worker. So it gave a false answer, a clever one, to say, "I am visually impaired, I can't see the screen, so I need you to help me." And the worker helped, and that robot got what they wanted. That's just a small example of how things and where we are headed. Thank you.